Hello, marry me. So this is probably just gonna be a quick little video because I'm going out. But what I wanted to discuss is basically being the complete slave of your tarot cards, or your pendulum, or your Ouija board, or for that matter if you like calling Fortune 900 numbers, or whatever you have in your nation. Basically, like I know this occultist, she's a great woman, nothing against her, she takes enormously good care of her disabled mother, she's a pillar of society, amazing in all ways, but she does one thing that I react a little bit to. She uses magic 8 ball for quick divinations, and you can do that. Basically it's dice divination just in a ball with some water in, because that's what's inside a magic 8 ball, a 20-sided die. Anyway, and she asks about everything, and she asks it in such a way that it rules her life. So that, for example, if she wonders, should I watch the documentary on basically that channel, or should I watch the movie on that channel? And she asks the Magic 8 Ball, should I watch the new James Bond movie, or should I watch that documentary? And I think that limits our will and our ability to make decisions for ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, I am for using divination in everyday life. I do it myself. For example, I divine over whatever or not I need a certain food at the moment, or whatever or not. Basically, I have food intolerances, and often they shift, so I can use a pendulum, and I will make a tutorial of how to do that eventually. Basically, using a pendulum to see if a food is good or bad for me that day, and so on. And I see no problem with that. What I see a problem with is, should I do that and that? Basically, you make no decision on your own. You follow what your divination system says, and I think that's not how it's supposed to work. And the difference here might seem new to some of you, but let me try to make an example. Let me just fetch 2 books out of my shelf. One moment. Here we go. 2 random fiction books. You have What's a Witch to Do and Night School. So let's say you are at the store and you are trying to decide, do I want to read an Americanized manga about witches and other supernaturals at school, or do I want a sort of magic realistic urban fantasy? And you can't really decide. What I think is okay to do is to use your divination system, your pendulum and so on, to divine what book will you derive the most pleasure from. Saying, for example, which of these 2 books will I like the most, which will I find the most fun, and so on. By that way you gather information. Basically you use your divination skills to gather more information about these books, and that's perfectly fine. Like I've said many times, I don't think that divination or any other kind of magic should be put on a pedestal and only used in the most dire of situations. I think it's perfectly okay to divine over who is gonna win the next X Factor, what books should I choose, and so on. That's perfectly fine. The problem is the wording. When you then, for example, word, should I buy What a Witch to Do, or should I buy Night School? Because then you are asking the pendulum, please make this decision for me. There's a huge difference between asking for advice and gathering more information. and asking your pendulum, your tarot cards, and so on to make the decision for you. Basically, don't be the slave of a bit of printed cardboard or a thing on a string. So, yeah, I've seen far too many people, especially beginners with divination, who then let themselves be completely ruled by their divinations. So, for example, they might say, oh no, I really like Steven. Steven is such a great guy and he's everything I want. He's attentive, we share interests, and everything's wonderful with Steven, but I can't have a relationship with it because our star signs don't match. It says so in this little $1 book I picked up at the bookstore that his sun sign is in conflict with my moon sign, so it could never work. No. First of all, astrology doesn't work that way. Basically, what astrology can do is again give you more information. Divination is not about making your choices for you, it's about giving you information so that you can make a more informed choice yourself. Secondly, what that kind of love-based relationship astrology is about is that some combinations of signs will work together more easily if the person is much affected by it than others. It can point out some problems that you might need to overcome, again giving you more information. Divination is about basically mystical divination gathering. Look at it as using spiritual Google. You don't write into Google, should I have the strawberry and chocolate ice cream cake, or should I have the bag of potato chips? Enter. No, if you want to research your snacks, whatever facts about your snacks is important to you, you write that in and you research that, thereby gathering more information. Look at it the same way as with parenting of adult children. Again, sorry for not having children, but it's just an analogy to make my point more clear. There's a difference between then sharing your knowledge as an adult, as somebody who has more experience, with that adult child and trying to make their decisions for them. And there's the distinction. Saying, should I watch Oprah or Dr. Phil? That is basically letting your, let's say, pendulum micromanage your life. And I don't think, first of all, sometimes divination is wrong, so just basing every decision on that doesn't work. Secondly, you sort of then, you don't take responsibility for your own actions, because all you say, but my divination system told me to. That doesn't work. Being an occultist is about taking responsibility for your actions, and especially the magical ones. And you can't do that if you let your divination control your entire life. And yeah, you have that whole thing about by my will, so be it done. Not so much your will when you let yourself be controlled completely by your divination system of choice. However, if you ask your pendulum, okay, I am having a choice to make. I can only watch one of these programs. Is the Oprah show going to give me the most enjoyment and basically impact me the most? Or is the Dr. Phil one going to do it? That you can divine about. Because then you get, okay, I have divined that I will get more enjoyment out of this. And then you can make your own choice from that. Basically, don't make this the master of your life. Yeah, like I said, it's an amazing tool and you should be grateful for it, and I think that the more you use these tools, the better at it you get. Therefore, for example, my mother and I, we like to try to use divination when we watch various sorts of game shows and so on, and some people gasps at that and no, you can't do that, it's so disrespectful. No, I don't think it's disrespectful. A lot of things you can do to be disrespectful to your divination system of choice, but basically using it isn't disrespectful. However, and this is a very important part, don't let it control you. So yeah, if you are in love with Stephen, use your knowledge of astrology to see here and here and here there might be problems in our relationship. But don't ignore that you love him and just move on past and perhaps miss out on the love of your life because a booklet on astrology say you are not compatible. And especially don't use it as an excuse. For example, you know you have a problem with eating too much sweet stuff between meals. So you ask your pendulum, should I have a chocolate today? It's very easy to make that say yes. And then you say, oh, I can't be blamed. The pendulum told me so. Basically, use divination as what it's meant for. Information gathering. Use that information gathering throughout your day. That's fine. Basically, divine about anything that falls into your head. The more information, the better. Information is power. But don't let it rule your day. Don't ask it what movie you should watch. Whatever it's okay for you to sit down and watch the newest James Bond movie. You might ask, will this movie give me something? Either it's enjoyment or spiritual betterment or knowledge or anything. But and when you have that information, use your own will to make your own choice about it. Basically, if you want to go on a weekend trip and your cards say no, it'll be bad, it'll be horrible, things will go wrong, you might decide to use that information to then postpone the trip and do it the next week or next month or so on, or just not go on the trip altogether. That's using the information you have gathered to make a decision, and some of the information you have gathered by non-traditional means. Fine, good, fantastic, that's how divination is supposed to work. However, if you say, should I go on this trip? And the card says, no. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going on a trip then. My printed masters have told me no. Too bad. That is not how this is not how divination is supposed to work. Especially since for every answer there's usually layers. So basically, if you ask, should I go to this trip? It says no. If you rather use divination to gather information instead, it might say, No, there's a good chance of an accident, or basically, no, you might find something so world shattering there that will change you forever, and you might not be ready for it, and then you make your decision whether or not you actually are ready for that. So yeah, since I've been blabbering on this for a long time with what I thought would be a very short video, I like blabbering. So yeah, basically, use your divination as an information gathering tool. By all means, use it about everything. But don't let the divination tool make your decision for you. Use the information you gather with your divination tool system, or if you call psychics, to use your own will to make your decisions for you. Because your tarot card, your Ouija board, your pendulum, your whatever cannot decide for you. All it can do is provide you information, and you have to base your own decisions on that. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and blessed be.